Hi everyone, Marianne here. Today I wanted to make a mini journal that's going to go inside of a bigger journal, and I thought I'll flip on the camera and let you craft along with me. This is a sample that I made. I saw, this is not my idea, although mini journals are kind of mini journals. They're out there everywhere, but I saw this particular one made online, and I want to say it was Pam from Paper Outpost. I believe that I got this original idea of how to quickly do this from. So as I watched her do one, I whipped this one together. This is pages from a Gardener's Handbook, a dandelion stamp, and a pretty little roses there. And you can see some stickles embellishment on there. Just a cute little journal with some little pages. So I am working on an owl journal right now. And so I thought I wanted to make one of these that is basically fitting in with my owl theme that I can put into that owl journal. So first thing we need to do is grab a piece of paper. All of this is from one book page. You can see that it's book page underneath it. All of this is one book page. Now, however large your book page is, that's going to determine how big this book is. So my original book page on this one is twice the height of this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that means this book page was 10 inches tall. It was a pretty large book. And I actually have, where did I put it? I actually have some book pages on owls because I have a large bird book, and so that's a single page. I think I'll use that one. I have a large bird book that I like to use when I'm doing something particular, in relation to birds. So I thought this section that has is all about owls. If you happen to be able to read a little bit of it, it's going to talk about owls on there. So I want to trim up this edge here just to make it a nice smooth edge. I will distress it afterwards. Sorry for this big clunky thing here. Now, I left my desk light on because I really like the brightness of the light, but what I need to know is when you watch this video, is it giving you a huge glare? So I talk and lift my hand and I can't cut straight. So is my light over here, is it giving a big glare on my glass surface? See, I don't think, my concern is that either I can have that light or I can have this nice glass surface, but I'm afraid that that light will glare off of this glass. But this glass is so nice to work on. And then I can distress something. I can distress the edge of a, edge paper here. And you can see how the distressing shows on the glass right here. But it will not rub off onto anything else I'm doing. I could put something else on there and it does not rub off on it at all. So I really like that page, or that page. I really like having the glass down here. So first thing I'm going to do is distress it a little bit. I can always go back later and distress the edges that are showing a little bit more, but I always think that it's easier to do the book page quickly before folding it up and then trying to get to all the edges that you want to get to. So I'm just going to give it a quick distress around the edge here, and a lot of the little pages are going to have something on them anyway. And then where we have folds, I'll probably distress on the folds. Now you'll notice that when I distress here, I have this poor sponge has seen better days. I really need to put a new sponge on here. It is completely worn out. But I get the ink on it, and then I go from my glass surface onto the paper in circular motion. And that's the way Tim Holtz taught how to distress using his distress inks. I'm going to do both sides because once it's folded, you never know what's going to show. Now, I'm not really being too concerned about what the edge looks like, you know, inside here, because I know it's going to be all folded up and all that's not going to show. Otherwise, I might go a little slower and make sure that that is either more blended in or darker, or, you know, doesn't show any circular motions or whatever it is. Right now, I'll tell you 2 times that it will show. See, like this is okay, but I would blend in these circles over here. But 2 times it'll show circular motion a lot on your paper. One is when you have a brand new brush on, or a destroyed brush, and it doesn't hold the ink well. So a brand new brush doesn't have any ink buildup on it, so it doesn't hold the ink well. And a brush that's destroyed is not holding it very well either. The other time is if you start your distressing on the paper. When you first put it down, you're going to have a circle, and then you start going. So that's why Tim Holtz always taught, start off the paper and brush onto the paper. And that's his technique. So I didn't make that up either. So learned it from Timmy himself. Okay, so here's our piece of paper. And if you would like to pause and grab your piece of paper, you can fold along with me and make this little booklet. So we're going to turn it sideways. Now this is, like I said, it's a big one. It is, what is it here? It is actually, wow, this one's even bigger. This is 11 3/4 tall, and it is 10 inches wide. So this is going to be a fairly large mini journal. Probably even just a slight bit larger than that one. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is fold the paper in half. This is so simple, so easy. I like things that are easy, that are quick, that I'm not going to forget how to do. We just want to make sure that the corners, the edges line up as well as we can, because then the book will be even and you won't have things sticking out on the book. Okay, got it folded in half? All right, that was tough, I know. Fold it in half again. I know, getting tougher, isn't it? Okay, now see, I might even stop and distress along here, but I can do that after. Oh, look, I can see owl words here, so it'd be cool if that shows up for me. Now, let me make sure that that's kind of, I'm going to grab a bone folder, because this is a big page, and it's actually a little thick, so I want to make sure that I have a really good fold there. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is take one side and fold it back, rub it with the bone folder. I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to take the other side and flip it back. Now I'll open it and review that real quick. It's so simple that you think, what? Can it really be that simple? Okay, piece of paper, fold it in half, fold it in half again. Fold this side back, fold this side back. Now, if you do that, then you have either a W, or if your name is Mary Ann, you have an M. Either way, you've done it right. Okay? All right, so now we're going to open it up to here, and you can see you have 4 distinct sections. So now you want to take a good pair of scissors, a good sharp pair of scissors, and we're going to go from the first fold on this side to the first fold on this side, and we're going to cut just the tiniest bit off, just so that it's open from here to here. Not that we really want it, you know, any amount cut off, we just want it open there. So I could get it going and slice it, but it's just so much easier to grab a pair of scissors and start right at that fold and just do the tiniest little bit, tiniest little bit until I get to that. And I always stop right there because I'm just afraid that I'm going to go past. And then I just break that off because that is so tiny, such a tiny, tiny little bit. Okay? And if you did that right, then you should have a big hole right there where you just cut it. right? So you had a W or an M, and you cut from one side crease to the other side crease, going across the center crease. And so now you have a slot in the middle, kind of like a poncho. Remember the days of ponchos? Now, if you grab both of these and you pull it open like that, then it's really like a poncho. There's your neck hole. And that's exactly what we're going to do, is pull both of those open. Okay, push these two together. Fold it down. Okay, so I pushed that open, and I'm going to fold. It really doesn't even matter which way you fold it here. So I'm pushing that one to the left, and then I'm going to push the back one to the left, and I'm going to push that one to the left. Now, I didn't line up very well right there, did I? And Mike can correct that a little bit right there with a bone folder. Let's see if that helped. Still did it. Must be something about that piece of paper. Okay, but remember how I said it doesn't really matter which way you turn it? You fold it. If I go back here, and if I fold it this way, and I fold the back one this way, and I fold this one this way, or this way, doesn't really matter which way you fold it. Okay, as long as they're all folded the same way. That's all that matters. All right, so there's my little notebook. Now, this one doesn't have any pictures on it, so it doesn't really matter to me which is the front. If there was maybe something on here that I liked, maybe I would want that to be the front. Maybe I'll look at this and see if one side lays better than the other, if I push it one way or the other, because that is not laying very well. See, you make a perfect one off camera, and then as soon as you go to do it to show somebody, then it gets all screwy. But you know what? I like when I watch videos like that, because I like knowing that everything doesn't work perfectly for everybody else but me. So, okay, so here we've got, I'm going to do this. No, I don't want that on the outside. Well, looks like either way, it's going to be on the outside. I'm going to do that there. And then I'm going to deal with this. Yeah, that's just going to bug me. So you know what I'm going to do? Now, if I open it up like that, it actually is folded perfect to the square. But as soon as I fold it, it isn't. So well, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut that just so it meets the other one. Boom. There we go. Don't fold right for me. I'll cut your arm off. That's how it goes. Okay. Now that one's sticking out a little far. That's okay. That's okay, because you can embellish these any way you want, and you might end up putting something over that so that it doesn't even show. Wow. What I've also noticed is that the bigger the book page, the harder it is to make it fold perfectly. When I used a smaller book page, in fact, here's a good example. This isn't like a really small book page. This is a glossy, but it is much smaller. It's close to half the size of this one. And when I did that, it folded up a whole lot nicer, a lot easier. So do this. Let me do this. Fold it in the middle there. Fold that one and that one. That lays better. There we go. No, but that's not what I want. I want it like that because that gives me an extra page. It gives me a whole extra page, and that's the whole point. Okay, so we're going to deal with it. We're just going to deal with that. All right, so I want to make this to go into my owl book. So I have some little owl pictures. I just realized that I didn't grab any embellishments or anything. I did pull out a little baggie that I had with some owl pictures. And I can look at to see what's going to go on the front here. And have to deal with embellishments after the fact, since I didn't grab any, except I'm dropping my pictures on the floor. Okay, so let's see. Actually, this is a really cute one, isn't it? That looks like one of those old almanac advertisements with the, it's a Dream and Fate book, 1886, with the owl beside her. So that would be cute. These might make good embellishments. There's a picture. I kind of want the one, you know, whatever's on the front to be a nice looking picture, not a scary owl, you know. Oh, this one's kind of fun. I think there's some kind of cartoon on there. I'm not sure. This always cracks me up. It looks like owls. I think those are owls. 2 owls in the tree with a little child. Not sure. Not sure. What's a child doing in the tree with the owls? Now that's a kind of a pretty picture too for the front. That looks a little sinister. But let's see here. You know what? In the interest of time, I got a lot of little tiny owl pictures here. Ooh, that's kind of cool too. Look at that. I think that's the snow owl. My neighbor's granddaughter loves the snowy owl. Oh, isn't that a cute little snowy owl? Oh, look at that. Owl with his eyes closed. He's cute. Cute, cute. Okay, well, let's see. Oh, that's cute. There's another one. Everybody gives good advice. Here's one. Cut out like stamp. Okay. Let's see. Let's have a vote. What do you think? This one, this one, this one, this one. We'll save some of those others. It's a little, I could trim that down and it'll fit right in that, like it's a little frame. All right. I think I'm going to use this one. And I think, let's see if I distress that a little bit, if that will cover that edge. Oh, I really need to get a new sponge on this thing. You can see little bits of the sponge break off onto it because it's just so torn up. It is a well-loved sponge. Let's see. Yeah, isn't distressing like the most exciting part of watching a video? Although sometimes I like it because it gives me a chance to go grab my things without having to stop the video. Okay, so we're gonna do this. Now, I do like the book page behind here. I like that they're all book pages, and but there's no book page here. So, oh look, I have this part. This is off the top of one of those pages of books. Let me grab another page out of the book and tear off a little. Actually, let me just grab the book scraps. I keep a little envelope with book scraps. Where are my book scraps? Here we go. Just some book scraps. So let's just grab a book scrap. That'll probably work when it's from a plant book. But what I want is just a piece to go up there so that there's words on most of it, and then I think I'll cut this down and put the owls up there. So let's see here. Let's just try to tear this to make it work. Let's see if we can make words on most all of it. Little point there's just a little too tall. Okay. Okay, that should work right there. So let's get the edge of this, a little color. even though it's a plant book and my theme is owl, I think owls and plants go together, right? They're all in the forest. But I don't think you're going to see much of that because we're going to end up putting this other stuff over it. But you're going to know that it's there. So I'm going to use art glitter glue because it dries so quickly and you have to use so very little of it. I think I've told you before that my biggest downfall whenever I'm doing art or any kind of creating is that I want to put too much glue on it. It blows my mind how such a tiny, tiny amount of glue can make. I'm going to distress this top up here while we're here. And then get this edge a little bit more because I cut some of that off. And I want it to be a nice dark edge, even if the dark doesn't go up onto the paper much. I want the edge not to look white. So I'm going to go over it like that. Okay, so we've got that there. I'm not going to do that yet because if we do something on the spine, it might stick better if it doesn't have. Okay, so then let's put this right here. Gargling oil. Oh, doesn't that sound fun? Okay, so here's a question for you. When you were a kid and you had a sore throat, what did your parents make you gargle with? I remember, oh, what do I remember? I remember gargling with all kinds of strange things. Something with baking soda in it. I remember taking baking soda if we had an upset stomach hurt. They would put baking soda, a teaspoon of baking soda, put a tiny bit of water and make you eat that teaspoon of baking soda. Then you could drink some water and it would either settle your stomach. I guess maybe that was that original Tums. It would either settle your stomach or it would make you throw up. And either way, you'd feel better. So I remember gargling with salt water. And maybe it was baking soda and salt water. Maybe that's why I'm remembering the baking soda. Get some of that. I'm going to save that book page because that's nice old book page. I'll just push that off to the side. Keep the owls. There we go. Okay, let's distress that a little bit. But what did your parents make you gargle with when you had a sore throat when you were a kid? Anything strange or did they? I think a lot of it depends on where you grow up. You know, what region or what part of the country and, you know, kind of things that they do there that maybe another part of the country thinks is weird, but then what we do in another part of the country you probably think is weird. Okay, so there's the owls. What do you think? So let's put the owls down, and that's the beginning of our book. Okay, the front cover anyway, not the beginning. That's the front cover of our book. All right, so we're going to get inside and we're going to do some quick decorating inside, and then we're going to come back because the last thing that I want to do is look at the cover to see if there's anything else we want to do on it, where then it can just sit to dry. Okay, so there's our front cover. So now we go to the inside. All right, so you've got this open bottom here, okay, and we don't want an open bottom. So there's a couple things you can do. You can either glue down the side and in here along the bottom, or you can just glue along the bottom and you can have a pocket right there. Second page, glue on the bottom only. You'd have a pocket right here. Third page, glue on the bottom only. You'd have another side pocket, hidden pocket. And the back page, you'd have a pocket on top. Or you can glue the top and the bottom and skip all of those pockets. So let me start with this. I know that the bottom needs to be glued on all of them. So I'm going to start with gluing the bottom. And then I'm going to decide about the pockets. And maybe I'll keep a pocket. Maybe I won't keep all 4 on this one. Okay, so there's 2 of them glued together. Now let's glue the last 2 together. One tiny little bead of this art glitter glue holds so well. It always amazes me how well that holds. Okay, just like that, the bottom is glued together. So now I do have a pocket there. I do have a pocket on top. I do have a pocket there. And I do have another pocket on top. So I think I'm going to leave them for now, because I think I'm going to keep at least the top 2 pockets, because as we were going through these things, I thought I saw some tags. Nope, it was that. Well, I know I've got some tags. So I know I've got some tags that are thin that could be stuck down there. So I'm going to leave those open for now. But I'm going to give a little bit of color to the top of these. Let's get all of them. Doesn't hurt us to go ahead and do the whole thing. And then if we decide that we don't want those pockets, we just run a little bead of glue across that opening. And we take care of that pocket. You don't have to have a pocket if you don't want a pocket. And anywhere you want a pocket, you can have a pocket. Don't you love that it is your choice? And that's the thing about art. There's no right or wrong in art. You've heard this before. And I can't tell you how long it took me to accept it. There is no right or wrong in art. And here's what helped me get over the hump of being afraid to do anything, because I was afraid I would do it wrong or mess it up or make a mistake. But as I watched and learned from junk journalers and others doing vintage types of crafts, I realized that if there was something that they didn't like, they just did something over the top of it. And there's so many mediums to use now to do something over the top of it that it's so easy to cover something up. So the phrase I heard somebody say, boy, I wish I could remember who it was, but the phrase that I heard somebody say that helped me get past my hang up of getting started because I didn't want to mess it up was, that piece of art is not finished until I say it's finished. So that means if I'm going along and I don't like how it looks, or I don't like what it is, I can do something on top of it. I can collage on it. I can layer on it. I can whatever. Oh, there's those tags. Yeah, I did see them. It's not done till I'm happy with it and I say it's done. So if I don't like it, I'll just keep changing it, keep doing something else to it. Okay, so here's some thin tags with owls on them. And I'm thinking that they could fit right down in here nicely. That is, if I can find that nice little pocket. Okay, so I'm going to keep those aside and use 2 for that. All right, so we've got our cover there. Now let's go in here. I have this. It's a little too wide for both. So here's how we're going to take care of this. You can see that it's basically a frame, and it has burlap inside the frame, and it's probably a pin board or a cork board or something behind it that I thought, well, you put it here and that just makes a nice little journaling spot on both of those, and I could still put a little owl or something. So here's how we get around. I want the border, I want the frame, I want to have the whole frame there. And if I cut it off, then I'm not going to have that frame anymore. So what I want to do is see exactly where I want it placed. So I would want it probably, well, first thing I'm going to do is tighten it up right up to the border, up to the frame. And then let's see how big it actually is. Because I've got a lot of extra paper on here besides the frame. And I can tell that it wasn't squared. So that will make a difference. Okay. And that's, so this side of the frame is white, this side is brown, so it just doesn't, they're not even the same thickness. And that's because they're different colors, or maybe part of it's even out of the frame. So that means I can tighten this up a little and wouldn't even notice. Yeah, except what I notice is that this is not as white as that, I don't think. So quick measurement tells me 1, 2, 3, and almost 3/4. And this one is 1, 2, 3, and a little more than the half. Oh, that's pretty darn close. Close enough that I can just do this, and we should be getting pretty straight there. All right, so let's move that aside, and let's go back and see where we are now. Wow, that's pretty darn close, but it's still just a hair too big. So what I'm going to do is cut this right down the middle. So if I look at this from the edge, it is 5 and, oh, not quite 3/4, but more than 5/8. All right, so I want to cut it right down the middle, and it's not squared. It's still not squared, which is really weird. But, you know, sometimes pictures aren't, and you cut out the picture, and it's like you're looking at the picture at an angle, and so it's not squared. All right, so I'm going to do this the cheat way, the easy way. 1/2 of 5 is 2 1/2. 1/2 of 1/2 is 1/4, and just a little bit more. So we'll do that. So 2 1/2 and another 1/4 and a little bit more. So I'm going to put it about right there. We're going to cut this in half. Boom. See, for this kind of thing, it doesn't have to be exact. I mean, there's times where I will measure and make it exact because it's important that it's exact. Doesn't matter on this. All right, so if I line it up to where I want out here, it's across. You can see it's across the fold, so that's not going to fit. So I need to trim off just that much. And if I line this one up over here, that's pretty close to inside the fold, and that's because it wasn't squared. So, okay, so I'm going to distress the outside of this a little bit. Maybe I should have done that first, because that will make this white frame dark so that it all kind of looks like the same frame even. And then I'm going to take just a hair off of the inside of this one, and 3 hairs off the inside of the other side. I'm not going to do this side because that's the side that fits here, and when we put them back together, it's going to look like it's still one piece. So we'll just dress around the outside edge all the way on both of them. Now, because I didn't grab any embellishments to do this, I'm starting to think about what do I have. And I'm thinking about, I know that I've got some little plastic owls. Okay. All right, so now I need a hair off this one and 3 hairs off the left side, right? So grab the paper cutter again, and I'm just going to eyeball it. And we're just going to take a hair off of this one. And then when I pick it up, it's going to go on this side. Now, see, that's really nice right there inside the fold. Even if I put it right up to the fold, I have just a little bit of a border out here, which I think is perfect. Let's see how far it goes. There we go. That's perfect. Okay, and then on this side, I want 3 hairs, so about 3 times as much as the other one. I always err on the side of too little. See, that's too little because it's right up to the edge. Because I can always take more off, but I can't put it back on. It's easy to shave a little more off, but not so easy to put it back on. And if we're trying to create something specific, like in this situation, we want this to look like it's one bulletin board that's folded in half. There we go. So that will work. Let's get that out of the way. Now, okay, I've got some nice book page over here. It is funky that it's facing the other way, but I don't have any over here. So I think I'm not going to worry about putting one there. And I'm going to use that as a good place to put an embellishment. Okay, so this is a nice cardstock card, but it's still, if you're using the art glitter glue, it only needs a tiny little strip. Oh, didn't go there, down the side, a little bit in the center there, and good to go. Let's see, you have to think about how far down. I think because there's border or what do you call it? Not border. Why can't I think of it? I'm going to fold that to make sure that it folds over. Just drew a blank on my brain as to what that is called. The edge of the book, the border, maybe it is the border of the page there, and there's no words, no print. I think I want to bring it down to cover most of that because we've got nice words up top. Just like, I like book page. I love making book page look old. You know, to me, there's nothing better than finding a book that is so old that it's got, the pages are naturally aged on their own. They look like Tim Holtz totally distressed them. But he didn't. They did it all on their own over time. Now, this glue dries really fast. So you put it down and you don't have but literally half a second to move it if you're going to move it. There we go. There's our bulletin board. Yeah, I love those old pages where the book is so old that when you open it up, the pages are just browned on the edge and they just look so old, like they're going to fall apart. All right, let's see what we've got here. We've got this one. We've got that. We've got some tickets. We've got, we've got 2 more pages to do there too. That can go on a page. These, just some cards, more tags. Okay, here's some little minis. That doesn't really fit. What is that? Roses, some music, that might. Stripes. Yeah, that doesn't really fit on the back, although there's some writing that might fit. Except it's all about cake. All about cake on the back there. Oh, hang on a minute. I've got some. My sister had a birthday party for her grandson, and the theme was woodland animals, and they had these sticking in the cupcakes, and I managed to grab 3 of them before the rest of them got thrown away. I managed to grab 3. I would have loved to keep more of them. I don't remember if they all had owls on them, if they were something else, but I haven't done anything with them until, this point. But maybe I could do some. Oh, you know what? If we had thought about that, I could have stuck that back behind there, huh? That might have been really cute. Well, maybe this could stick. Okay, so here's an issue right here. Well, it's not really an issue. It just needs to be glued down. And I didn't think about it until I opened it up to look at it. Okay, so I'm going to go in there and I'm going to glue. I'm kind of going back and forth so I can get both sides. So then when I stick that on there, both sides will be touching glue. Okay, and that seals up really quickly. So maybe this could stick down into one of those pockets. What do you think? Would that stick down into one of those pockets? There we go. All glued on the center. All right, so we got this pocket in the back, but that kind of like to be able to see it. Maybe we can put it on the back somehow. Well, let's keep that aside and see if we can think of something to do with that. But I want to dig out, I know I've got some little plastic owls. All right, here we go. I've got some they're kind of peach, but kind of dirty peach. Not really orange, but kind of sorta. That's orange. And got the turquoise. So, and I forgot that they're flat backed, but that's even better. That's perfect. They're flat backed. They're two different owls. So maybe we use two of them because they're two different ones. Maybe one goes somewhere else in the journal. All right. Well, there's teal in, or turquoise in these and these. So let's see. Maybe we can find one of these to be a backing for it. Is that too busy? What about that one? It's on the back there. Music page. Little music. Nope, I think it needs a little more color. That's brown there. All right. How about the stripe one? Mr. Owl, be good stripe. You know what? I don't think I cut very straight with scissors, so anytime I can, I grab a cutter. Because I know it's a small cut, but I think some people just... See, I can't even cut straight with a cutter. Some people are more talented and cut straighter than others, and I don't think I cut very straight. So anytime I can, I grab a cutter, because then I don't end up doing that. Oh, I need to take a little off here so they're even, and then a little more off here, then a little more off here, and pretty soon it's about half the size of what I intended it to be, what I started out as. What I figured out is that don't just leave it as it originally was, because nobody knows and most people don't see that difference. Only you do. And the fact that it's not perfect, if one side is a little bit larger than the other, that is a attribute of it being homemade, handmade. I like things that are handmade. So what do you think? That'll go nicely up there. So let's put this little square down. Now these, you know when you buy a new paper pad and on the front of it, sometimes it has little tiny squares of showing what all the different paper in the pad is? That's all that was. I always save that because that's even thicker than cardstock. That's really nice, those front covers. And that's what that was. Each one of these was a different print of the paper that was in that particular stack. I can't even tell you which one it was, but I just cut those covers apart and hang on to those. Okay, we got Mr. Owl all glued up here. And he's gonna go right there. How's that? Awesome. Okay. Now, let's see. We do kind of sort of need something over here, I think. What do we need? What do we need? What is this? This is just, just vintage pieces of paper. There's some greenery in here. What do you think? Should we put that greenery right down here on the bottom? All right, this one's going to require some quick fussy cutting. No, I'm not a huge fan of fussy cutting, but sometimes I don't mind. And I will tell you the trick that I learned was to turn the paper, not the scissors. So I get the scissors in my hand and my hand stays still, and I turn the paper. And if you do that, you end up getting a much nicer cut. It just seems to be cleaner. And it also is so much easier. Okay, what about that? Think that'll work? All right, let's ink that up a little bit. Just quick. And even the ink, you know, when paper's really old, it doesn't always age exactly the same on all areas, all sides of the paper. It sometimes gets dirty. So, and this is really white, so I'm going to do this all across it just to dirty up that paper a little bit and make it not quite so stark white. But yeah, as paper gets old and gets dirty, it's not exactly the same. So if you're inking along and you happen to smack in the middle and, you know, get a little streak of ink, don't even worry about it. That, to me, just adds to the vintage look, because I've looked at a lot of vintage paper and that's how they end up. They're never, you know, perfectly symmetrical in how they age, or brown or yellow or whatever you want to call them. Okay, so there's a little greenery there, and maybe you can even find a little flower or something in a minute to put up there. Oh, you know what? I had that stamp there with the little dandelion, and that's still sitting on my desk. I wonder if any of these other dandelions might be small enough. There's a little tiny one right there. I'm not sure that that one is. Oh, actually it kind of is. I'm really enjoying this one. Grab some ink up here. I'm just going to use a black StazOn. Notice I didn't even get that one off of the block. I've used it several times. I just really enjoy the look. I don't know why it appeals to me so much. I love the look of this little dandelion being blown in the wind. And I think I might have just smeared this one by twisting it. Oh, there we go. See? All right. The owl and the dandelion. All right, so we got something on that page. So let's go to this page. Now, let's see here. We still have that. We still have this. We still have some tickets. Let's close up this ink. We still got that. What else have we got in here? Oh, here's another turquoise colored bit. This is kind of a nice one. Looks like by the moon. Oh, this looks like a cute little one. I want to put some writing space on. I like to have some writing space on each one though. There's some writing space on here. How about, I've got this little just note paper. Let's create something to write on. I'm going to start it at the bottom and cut the top off. Okay, so we'll grab a pencil, and I'm going to mark, there's the top of the page, and I want it to go up to about there. All right, and push that aside, grab the cutter again, trusty cutter that saves my life. There's my mark. Make sure it's lined up on the left. There we go. Now I did put two pieces on here. Thinking ahead. I was thinking ahead. I was thinking ahead to both sides here. Now it is too wide too, so let's put that. If we do it right there, and here's our center crease, and we want it to go to about here. Okay, so grab that one more time. I use this little cutter a lot. It is, when I'm doing small things, it is so much easier to grab this and make quick cuts than having to get the big one out every single time. I can just move it off to the side. There we go. Let's see how that works. That works, and I like that you can see the book page behind it. Okay, this doesn't ink too easily because it's so thin. So let's do this. Just try to ink up the side a bit. Looking a little aged, a little dirty. Let's see if I put them both together. It'll work this way. I don't like them to necessarily even look the same, even though they're the same type of paper. Even if they come off of the same pad, you've noticed. So when my dad passed away a few years ago, we went and cleaned out his office and all his office at the office and his office at home, and he had just tons and tons of papers, and some of those papers were probably close to 50 years old. And, you know, looking at the old papers like that, I noticed that even on the same notepad, they don't age exactly the same, you know, and sometimes they get water damage and it doesn't go all the way through. So some pages will have it and some won't. There we go. That works. Okay, I'm going to grab a glue stick for this one. I don't think it matters which one. I've got two here. I've tried them both, but I can't even tell you which one that I like the most because I don't know. I don't know. So, let's see. I'm going to put this down just because I don't want the glue to stick to the glass and then stick all kinds of other things in it. Well, that is nice and gooey, that's for sure. Okay. I'm going to say it's probably been a while since I've used that one because I don't remember anything about it. Maybe I have only used it once or twice. I don't remember it being gooey. I don't remember it not. But I do like that by putting that on the back, it lays flat, and it also gives me a minute to reposition it if I need to. Yeah, I'm afraid that one going in the same spot and getting glued down on the front. Wow. This is Scotch glue stick, and it's really sticky. It is, I'm going to say that this is a good glue stick that's going to probably hold for a very long time. Let me get that out of the way. Yeah. I don't even remember where I got that one. I probably saw somebody using it and thought, all right, I'm going to try that because that's the way I am with adhesive. I have 50 different kinds of adhesive because I have to try everything and see, you know, what I like the best. And then I get all this adhesive and I don't know what you're supposed to use with what kind of materials. So I just start using them and just see what I like the best. So, okay, so there's that. Now that could use a stamp or some little owl down that corner maybe. Yeah, I kind of like him in that corner. Let's see if he can just get some glue from this glue stick that is so wet. But you know what? It's easy to use. Some glue sticks are so hard to run over the top of things because they're so solid that it becomes really difficult to use. This could even go right in the center. Nah, I just don't like that. All right. I'd like to do something over here. Let's see. What do we have that we can use on this side? Something small. Small picture. Let's cover that glue stick. Small picture, small picture. All these are pretty big pictures. There's a small picture. All right, gonna make me fussy cut again. Okay, so see how I just leave my right hand still, and as it sticks to my fingers on my left hand, I turn the paper with my left hand. Makes it a whole lot easier. My thing is I always get too far away from what I'm cutting, or I go too close to it. And I can't seem to be very consistent with that. But that's one of the reasons I really like distress ink, because you can distress up the edges and it doesn't matter that you don't have the same amount of white space on both sides. You can no longer tell because all the edges are the same color. So that wasn't too bad. All right, so let's distress him up a bit. Actually, it's just making that white brown so it all looks like it's owl color, because he's a brown owl. Okay, and let's just do, we've got this right here, let's just use this. Can you see those strings pulling out, how gooey that is? I'm anxious to see if this holds. I have a feeling that this is gonna hold on there, and it's not gonna be a, you know, a problem glue that comes up later, because that is plenty liquid. Okay, so there's some writing room on both sides there. All right, and we've got the last page here. All right, I would like to use this. This is really cute, and we could split that right down the middle. We could put this. We could put this over here, and maybe we could cut this, put this on the bottom, and put this part up on the top. All right, this is just a little too wide, so I'm going to trim that up just a hair all the way around. Just enough that it's not going to hit those seams. Let's see how that works. Is that enough? Not quite. All right. Any side, they're both pretty even, so let's get a little bit off of both of them. Now, I didn't need to trim the height. Didn't think about that before I did it, but didn't need to, but it's okay. Okay, so that's about right there. Now I'm going to soften this up a little bit. I'm going to quarter round the corners. So this is We Are Memory Keepers corner chomper. There are lots of brands that have corner chompers. Any kind works. That was the quarter, not the half round, but the quarter round. Makes a nice soft corner on a small picture. And let's do that. Yeah, how about we do that right there? A little bit of glue here. Does anybody else sing to themselves when they craft? I do, all the time. Even if there's not anything on, there doesn't have to be music playing. As I'm doing something like putting on glue, my brain will pick up a rhythm with my hand, and that rhythm makes me think of a song, and I'm off and running and singing that song. Look what I forgot to do. I forgot to distress the edge of that. Oh well, I think we can do this. Let's see if that works. See, you can always do something after the fact. And I'm going to do something up here. Here's another thing. Let's grab this and put it right at the edge of that, so it won't get all over that paper. It doesn't really need a lot because the coloring is very, very similar, but just enough so it's not brand new. How's that? So it looks like it's old. Okay, and then let's see, with this little guy here, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? Well, the first thing I want to do is round off these corners too. You can see that the printing is rounded. I just didn't round it after I printed it and cut it out. Okay, and then let's distress it. Buying myself some time to think about what we're going to do with this. What would you do with it? Think about right now what you would do with it, and when I finally figure out how to make a decision here, see if you would have done the same thing. If you would have done something different, put it in the comments. I love that. I love to hear what you would have done differently, because the next time I'll go try your way, try something different that I probably didn't even think of. So by all means, leave me that. Okay, so now we're going to cut this off. We're going to cut this off because it's too wide, which means we need to round the inside corners that we just cut. I'll cut that one a little short there, and the other side as well. Okay, I'm fairly certain we can get rid of the cutter now, and let's distress these two insides that we just cut off. Okay, there we go. Okay, now they look like two completely separate cards, don't they? How about that? I do feel like it needs some writing over here, though. Do you feel like it needs some writing? All right, what did I do with my scraps? Here we go. Some book page scraps. I wonder if that's... Oh, that is actually about the same color. Even though it's about plants, we don't care. We don't care. We just want to add a little bit of book page writing over here. There we go. How about that? That works. Yeah. And then there will be some room to write on that smaller tag. There's room to write on the left. I'll do something on the back cover. Okay. Let's, now I'm going to roll with this glue stick, huh? Let's make this glue stick work for us. There we go. There we go. Okay. We're going to put this owl about right there. We're going to put this owl about right here. Okay. So, you know what? I'm going to do the back of these a little easier to control and get a nice thin bead along the edge here. I mean, probably the main reason I like this art glitter glue is because of this tiny little metal tip, because it allows you to get in a tiny place, and even better, it allows you to control exactly how much you put on. And knowing that I'm heavy-handed with glue, this helps me go minimalist with glue. There we go. Get them offset a little bit. How's that? Okay. All right. I think it's too late to get this behind that. So I said that about the front one and then completely forgot about putting it even behind that one. It could have gone on that one. Oh, Let's see, this could be embellished a little bit more. I feel like maybe it could have a little bit of lace or something. Let's do something on the back cover. I don't want this to be going on forever. Want to do this quickly. Okay, the back cover. I'm thinking we just take a couple of these guys, and staple them right there. But they do need to be distressed. Easy enough. They already have a slight edge, dark edge around them. So, and I want to take just a little bit of the white off of that ticket so that it looks a little older. Get that nice and distressed. So, what have you been working on lately? I appreciate you crafting with me. Hopefully, if you haven't made one of these little mini journals before, you grabbed a piece of paper and followed along and made one for yourself at the same time. How's that? I think I'm going to put them up a little higher and be able to put something down here. Not sure what yet. Have you made one of these before? And if so, what did you do something different? What did you do different? You know, I mentioned that I love to hear what people would do differently. You know, they say opposites attract, and but then you marry somebody and you spend your whole life trying to change them so that they think just like you. Well, I told my husband when we met, I said, I really don't want us to think exactly alike on everything, because that's a very narrow view of the world. Because if I see a piece of the pie that is, you know, maybe 45 degrees or whatever it is, and you see a piece of the pie that is another 45 degrees next to it, maybe they have a little bit of overlapping area, but I see this, you see this, and we overlap here, and we, you know, are open to hearing from each other. We now see twice as much of the world and have twice as big perspective as we did as a single person, individual. So, you know, whether that's in a business relationship or a friendship or a marriage, whatever it is, I don't want to think exactly alike, because that feels very restricted. Very restricted. I want to know that I'm going to grow and learn by seeing how you are different, or how you think differently than I do. That gives me new ideas, and it opens me up to learning new things. So, okay, so now we're going to go back here, and I'm thinking maybe some washi on the spine. I did some on this one. This is a really pretty washi that is just, it's almost like a piece of lace. And then I did these little embellishments here. So let's grab, I'm going to move some of this stuff over. Try to make a little space. I'm going to put the pin back in this. If you've not used art glitter glue before, make sure you keep the pin in so it doesn't get all clogged up. And make sure that that pin is stainless steel. If it's not stainless steel, you will end up with rust. Okay, so I have tons and tons of washi. I'm going to grab, I've got 2 containers that are really close to me here that I'm going to grab to just look through and see what we've got. This one, llamas. Llamas are cute. Oh, what's this? This is brown. It's brand new, not even open. That's that one. Let's see. That kind of looks like feathers, doesn't it? We don't have to go any farther than that. I'm going to try that one. The other one that I have sitting right here close to me is this one. So we've got a ton to look through. Lots of options of washi. Amazing. I usually spend more time looking through washi trying to decide what to use. How unusual to find it just like that. Which is awesome. So if any of you follow along in the lives with Linda Israel on Mondays and Thursdays, she does some really great lives. Last week, as I was logged in on YouTube and waiting for it to start and getting things situated at my desk. I always like to be working on something at the same time as so I can justify spending the time at the lives, because you know that's a lot of time out of my day that I'm not getting things accomplished. And right before she went live, in fact, she was talking a little bit, chatting on the chat just a bit for a couple minutes before she went live, and all of a sudden I had a big old craft-a-lanche. Well, it was actually a washi-a-lanche. Both of those containers of washi and another container that was precariously balanced on top of them. I walked past them in a hurry and, wow, can I find the end of this? And bumped the corner of one of them, and they all went down. All three of them. And I had hundreds of washi all over the floor. So it's a good thing I wasn't going live, huh? Oh, that's kind of cool. That is kind of pretty. Wow, I've never used that before. Obviously, it was still in its wrapper, so I'm going to do this and open it up. Oh, would have helped to put that on before that ticket, wouldn't it? Let's see. Do we want it that direction? Or do we want it that direction? I think I like it going up. Now, I've not used this before, so I don't know how well this washi sticks, but I do know that frequently washi tape does not stick as well as we would like it to, or as long as we need it to. So I'm going to run a tiny bead of glue down there, and then I think I'm going to start that one right at the top. Push that down on one side. There we go. That work? Yep, let's see how even it is. Actually, not bad. Not bad at all. Okay, and then the way I'm going to do that is by picking it up and folding it towards it and letting it put the pressure on it itself. So you get a nice fold right there. Wow. It's cool. It's a feather, but you can also see through it because the background is sheer. That's really kind of a cool look. Okay, so there's our washi, there's our owl. Now, let's see here. There's a few stickles. What stickles would we might want to put on here? So on this one, I put 3 little pearls up in the corner and then 3 in each, just tiny ones in each of these tiny little corners. And I did that with stickles. So, but you know, of course this isn't flowers, but I still think it could benefit from a little bit of design. I'll do the front, and then I'm going to let it dry, and I like to let that dry overnight just to make sure. Then I'm going to turn it over to the back, and I might do something right here. Okay, so let's see what we've got here. Rose gold, copper, that might be pretty. That would be glittery, and this is rose gold, but not glitter. This is champagne on all the different golds. What's this one? Brass. Ooh, brass would be cool. Let's try brass. Let's try brass. All right, what are we gonna do here? I don't know the pearls are exactly. Let's do this. Let's give it a corner. You know what? Let me be smart about this and test it on a scrap first. Yeah, not, there we go. Okay, I have to push really hard for that to come out. Sometimes you don't have to push hard and it comes just flying out. Other times you push really hard and it doesn't. And I don't want to start pushing hard and then have it squirt all over the place. Since I haven't used this color in a while, I don't even remember. I've got so many of them. I don't remember how half of them come out. I have to give them a quick test. And I'm really having to squeeze this one hard. I wonder if it's a little clogged up or something. Could be. I'm just going to give it a little end frame where we wrote owls. Kind of like parentheses, if you will. All right, I can hardly see that one. Okay. Yeah, all right, okay. And then, let's see, what about the bottom? Do the same thing for the bottom. Yeah, let's do this down here. Okay. And this corner. It's coming out a little bit, or maybe it just needed to warm up in my hand. Coming out a little bit easier. Okay. That's not a ton, but that might be enough. I don't think we need a ton. You know what? I've got some feathers too. I have chickens in the backyard and I've got some feathers. So maybe after that dries, maybe I'll get a feather and lay a feather across this and glue it down. So, but there it is in a nutshell. Look how quick and easy that is to make a little journal like that. Now let me not stick my fingers in the stickles. Handle this one would be a little bit easier to handle. But see how this one, I put the piece of book up there, a couple of tags inside to write on. If there wasn't any writing, I just put some book page there. You can do pretty much anything you want there. So this one I went ahead and sealed them up. This one, I've left those two open. So I think that I'm going to take these tags and stick 2 of these tags down in the 2 open pockets. There we go. I might even attach jute to them. That would be nice. And there's a mini journal to put inside my larger owl journal. So I hope that you've enjoyed crafting along with me. I appreciate you crafting alongside me. And if you have never tried this before, grab a piece of book page, a piece of music paper, even a piece of plain paper, because if you totally embellish it up, you know, you don't even know that it's plain paper underneath. But try one. Super easy and super versatile. I mean, you could give this as a gift. You know, I would maybe do it a little bit differently to leave all the pockets open, fill it up with tags, things like that to give as a gift. But I'm making this one as a mini journal to put inside of a larger journal, so I don't need it to be too full of tags. So hopefully you've had a great time. Have a crafty day, a good crafty day, and I'll see you real soon.